come a long, long way. Made a lot of mistakes, but I'm breathing, breathing. That's right, and I made it, made it. This time I'm a little run down. I've been living out loud. I can beat it, beat it. That's right, 'cause I'm feeling, feeling invincible. Oh, oh, oh.
Aloha friends, this is Tito Kang for the LoliNation blog, coming to you on this edition of Marvelous Mondays. And yes, marvelous indeed again. It was a cold and freezy, but the spring is here and summer is about to hit, and I feel it. And in Montreal it was hot, 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 while I was in Vancouver, and it was cold, cold, cold. And when I got back here, it started to be cold again. So I'm starting to believe, I was thinking that, you know, the summertime or the warmth is eluding me, because it's been so hot and so warm, and the things that have been happening in my life. And as I have promised you, today I'm going to continue talking about the concept of failing versus failure. And it's failing versus failure part two, as you would say. Now, if I had to go back to one of the most memorable moments of my failures overall, is when I started my career in Shell. And I actually was managing a campaign. I was a 21-year-old young person that just graduated with a lot of entrepreneurial spirit and just joined Shell. And at that point in time, I was running this whole campaign. And I thought I was all that, because I've never really, truly was in a position, or was in a time when I failed corporately anyway. So when I actually achieved and came into that department, I had made a huge blunder and had failed significantly. I've got called out into my office. The account executive that was actually managing us had to go into my boss and complain about my ability to manage the campaign. I mean, I've learned so much during that campaign. That was what I retained the most. I mean, it was during that moment in time a very hurtful experience, because here I thought I had everything, and now I was left with nothing overall. And that basically got me kind of scared. It got me kind of scared to take risks moving forward. It kind of slowed me down. And I take it back to when I first came to Canada, and my first teacher in 4th grade had asked a question, and I raised my hand and gave my answer, and then she challenged me by saying, "Are you sure that's the right answer?" And when I was used to, when it's the right answer, I would always get that moment where the answer was said, "Yeah, you're right, you're correct," and I was never wrong. At that point in time, when she challenged me, I froze. I was doubting myself. And when I doubted myself, from there on in, every time an answer was asked, I would always doubt, do I really have the right answer? I never took the risk anymore. So I was weighing on the fear of failure. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. It's that fear. Any decisions that we make inherently has a 50% chance to be right or wrong. Probability from a mathematical perspective, that's what you have. 50% of the decision or the answer you're going to give is going to be either right or it's going to be wrong. Now, most of us will spend our time not making that decision because we live in the fear of being wrong. Think about that. You know, you want to change your life. You know inside of you that you have to pursue this one project, this one position, this one opportunity. But yet, what your thought process will go into is that, what if I'm wrong? What if I will be laughed at? What if I make the wrong choice? Our mind, our subconscious somehow got reprogrammed and not thinking about, what if it was right? What if I was a success? What if a decision I made would lead me towards the goal that I had set so many long time ago? Think about that. Think about that, right? I mean, it's quite powerful. Which 50% would you rather base your decision upon? The 50% that it's going to be the wrong decision, or the 50% that it might be the right decision? Because unless you are Nostradamus, and that could be debated even, and you can see in the future, no one is able to tell you what is going to happen until it happens. That's why they call it hindsight is 20/20. Well, hindsight doesn't happen when you have to make the decision. You have to lay the pros and the cons and do all of that stuff. But once you have to make that decision, why does our mindset consistently and continuously programs ourselves to think about the 50% that we are going to be wrong or that we are going to fail? If you go in and think about all those decisions that you made happen, and you might have failed, did not fail. When you made the decision in that moment, you thought about the times, you thought about the possibilities, you thought about the opportunities, and you went out there and made that decision. Now, after you failed, right? After you failed, you stood back and said, you went through the hurt and the emotion. You went through that phase of a change when you were in denial and you got angry. And once you've got rid of that angerness, you are coming back and taking a look at, okay, what did I learn? And what you fail to realize in the times that you actually fail, you weren't a failure because you have just grown. If you never started a company before, take this example. If you never start a company and you believe with this project you're going to start it, you started it but it failed. You never got any sales. You never got anything done. You didn't achieve your goals and objectives. All right? And you did fail. But if you had to dissect this and look at that opportunity and what you did, you must realize you've just grown. You started something that you've never done before. You've overcome your fear and you pursued something you thought was right. Even if you didn't get it, even if you did not get it, let me tell you, in that moment in time, you have just grown because you did something, pursued something that you did not have before. Isn't that incredible? You just added on to it. And as my friend, coach, mentor said, Ray Higdon, he says, those moments where you fail, those mistakes that you've made, you can consider two things. Either as a detriment to your growth or as an asset to your benefit. Assets to your benefit. Imagine that. Not a great word? I love it when he said that. Assets to your benefit. What does that mean? If you understand those mistakes that you've made is building you up to become the person you need to become or want to become or desire to become, at that point in time, you will be unstoppable. Another great quote from a mentor of mine, Jim Rohn, is, how long should you keep going on? Until. How long you should keep going on? Until. All right, so that's it for this edition of Marvelous Mondays. I hope this was beneficial and useful for you. I know for me, when I take this in and I handle this part, I now look at when I make a decision, not at the 50% that I might fail, but the 50% that it might happen and that I might succeed. That fuels. And if it does not succeed, I look back and I go, imagine that. I've taken action on something that I never have done before. I've learned this. I take account, dress up a list of the stuff that I have learned during that failed moment in time. And from that moment on, I keep on growing and I keep progressing. That's what you got to do, right? You got to do. This is Tito Kang reminding you, as usual, reminding you, folks, if you are a LoliPreneur, if you are transforming your life, either physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, you've got to pursue, right? What you did in the past made you who you are here today. The people you met, the books you read. I've said it many times. But what you do today and what you'll learn and then do with what you learn today is going to define who you become tomorrow. And you should not stop that. That's the mission of a LoliPreneur, right? Take account. Think of the 50% that's going to be positive. And always, always, always do your best and make progress. This is Tito Kang for the LoliNation vlog saying aloha, mahalo, until next time, and to your prodigious success.